All know someone we want to get to know better, but we're not sometimes sure how to go about doing that, right? What can we ask to spark a meaningful conversation and connection? Well, that's the inspiration behind our Take 5 series. We asked viewers and guests of our show to submit the questions that you could take to a friend to deepen the relationship. Our hope is these questions inspire your own relationships, and it's a chance for us to better know the women who inspire us. Our final quest is someone who we can always count on for a good laugh until we cry moment, appropriately known as your funny Valentine. On Instagram, Lisa Valentine Clark is a comedian, actor, and host of the Lisa Show podcast. She's a mom who loves to point out the humorous parts of motherhood, but she's not immune to the hard parts of love too. In 2020, she lost her husband Chris to ALS. She's been a light to all of us on staying positive through hardship, and we can't wait to hear more, learn more, and love her more as she takes 5. You ready, girlfriend?
Oh, I'm ready.
I was so excited always excited to see you.
So excited
always.
to see you,
In fact,
too.
one day we'll get to that lunch that we've been talking about forever.
100%.
But I really was excited to see you in this moment because you're darn good off the cuff.
Oh, thank you.
Like, you're an actress, right? So you can pull from a script and make us feel all the feels. But that emotional pendulum is in you. Like, we're laughing, we're crying when we listen to your podcast. And the podcast is a new project. I want to ask you about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, the Lisa Show. We were kind of early morning, 6 different kind of conversations. This podcast, or that you can download on the free BYU radio app or like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts anymore, is an hour where you're just really getting like deep diving into a topic, and we're really creating like a connection. I feel like because of the pandemic, because of our modern lifestyles and everything, we're all in our own little corners thinking, am I doing this right? Or I really need some help, but not feeling vulnerable enough to have a safe place to come and be able to talk about those things. And so I really want this podcast to be a place where you can come and find that connection and vulnerability and honesty and laugh along the way and get some really good ideas about how to help your life, live your best life.
Have you always been a talker?
Yes.
Yeah. And let me just say this. You're the kind of woman, too, that everyone, and let this land, just don't even comment, but everyone wants to be your friend. Have you been always open that way? Like, are you a natural connector? Does that come naturally to you to welcome women into your circle and form those bonds?
I think, and I've said this, in fact, I just said this the other day to a friend, the best part of my life, the biggest, blessing, the thing is I have the best friends. And so I am a social creature. My parents told me that they were really worried because I didn't say any words or anything for about 2 years. And then one day I just woke up speaking in complete sentences. And so I think I've been talking and being like, hey, what are we going to do? And,
Isn't that fun?
Will you be my friend?
The fountain turned on it, too.
Yeah.
You're like, I will follow the Mr. Rogers in my heart and embrace the world.
I want to connect with people. I want to know what makes them tick. I just think that's just the best part of my life.
I love that sincere gift in you. All right, this is the jar. You heard me set it up. Viewers, it's gone down quite a bit because you're number 5. Last the best of all the game. But viewers and guests of the show have been submitting questions all month long. They've been signing their name if they dropped one in. Give it a go.
And I've not seen this.
No. We locked it down. We locked it down. We were not previewing. We were not. In fact, some people asked and we said no go.
No.
How do you respond when things don't go as anticipated?
This is really funny because nothing goes as anticipated in my life, or it hasn't. And I do feel like it's important to plan, right? Like, you got to hope, you got to dream. But honestly, like, raising my kids hasn't gone how it's planned. My husband's career didn't go as planned. My career didn't go as planned. How I'm living my life right now in this moment without my husband, having my kids leave all kind of at the same time instead of, nothing has gone to plan. So this question is kind of throwing me because I'm like...
You should kind of just maybe do one of these and just like that.
I think I'm getting better at it, though, because I love that question in the sense of, I'm trying, right?
Yeah.
We all want to, you don't want to just throw up your hands and say, well, what's the point? You do still want to go. I'm still making plans. I'm still trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard at life. You just have to keep going.
It's one thing that has surprised me about being a mom, and this may sound like the silliest, most naive statement, but it's the recalibration. Like how
Yes.
every season, every year, every age, every child, you're just recalibrating, like trying to figure out what the next move is.
And I think it feels to me that about every 3 months, everything is totally different.
Shoe sizes.
And I used to say, like, when something would come, I say to my friends, like, oh, pivot, pivot. My son came home and he told me this. Guess what I did? Pivot.
Pivot.
You know, and you just think, okay, instead of spending too much time saying, you know, what if this isn't what I wanted? And I've done that, let's be honest, but it's not as effective as going, okay, well, now is the reality of this situation, so how am I going to, what am I going to do now?
We pivot.
Pivot step, I'll change.
Take 2, sister.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you got 2.
Oh,
you got
well.
2 and 1. We got our 2 and our 3. Here we go. What's your favorite little tradition you do with your family? So not a holiday, but something you do on a regular basis.
I think my favorite little tradition that we do is we gather together at the end of the day. Like, I am always in my bed earlier than my teenagers are, because I have 2 at home now and 3 in college. And I love that it has just, not by me, but by my kids, they just come in at the end of the day and get in bed with me. We review the day, and then the dog, who's not allowed in my bedroom, jumps up on my bed. And that kind of like sweet moment, and it's become a tradition, and I'm almost like afraid to say it because I'm like,
yeah, don't let it go
I got
away.
my teenagers to express love and tenderness, like nobody, like, let this magic moment
Well, and how
disappear.
beautiful it happens at the end of the day when we're all kind of softening and coming down, and they naturally just gravitate to that space,
It's
that
my
safe
favorite
space.
thing.
I love that. When in your life have you felt the most powerful?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
That is a really
like
good
that
question. You know, there was a moment when I was caring for my husband, Dr. Christopher Clark.
Dr. Clark.
When he had ALS. And for those who don't know, you know, it's a motor neuron disease. And so he couldn't move or speak at this time. And I remember I had a moment, and isn't it weird just like what you remember? Yeah. But this is the first thing that really popped into my head, where you know, he was making such the best of this situation, this horrible situation. And and he just expressed gratitude for me taking care of him. And I just felt, I don't know, this overwhelming like love for him and being able to take care of him and being able to work to support the family and be able to take care of the kids. And I didn't always feel that way, you know, but just for that, in that kind of moment, I felt like this is, you know, I'm able to accomplish so much in this moment, obviously with the help of other people, but I had never felt so capable in my life when I was doing that.
And don't you think, I love that you described it as a fleeting moment, because those moments of strength do come in just short bursts. And I almost think as women, we have to hang on, bottle them up, and visit them later. Do you know what I mean? When it does get hard and discouraging, you're like, wait a minute, there was that moment, and I'm gonna channel that feeling, and I'm gonna live that now.
Yeah, and there were some days where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna excuse myself to go in the bathroom and cry for a little bit or whatever. But like, when you have to like physically like lift up a grown man and put him in a wheelchair and like and then you're like signing a paper for this kid's school, and then you're making dinner, and like, not always, but sometimes you have those moments of like, this is just what's needed at this time of my life. It's not always going to be like this, and good for me.
Good for me. I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm doing it. I love that answer so much.
Moments.
Bottle them up. That's what we do.
I know,
is this 4? I think I lost track. This is 4. Well, we're going to say 4, because if we get a bonus, we're better for it. What kinds of hobbies do you want to do? What kind of hobbies do you want to do?
Oh, do I want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, because my favorite hobbies now are like doing improv, and I like to paint and read and stuff.
You're a painter?
Oh yeah, I love to paint.
That doesn't surprise me, and it does all at once.
I'm not very good, but I like it.
I
and
love
that's what a hobby's for.
I love that you do that.
Mediocre.
What do you? Yes, it is.
Like, and I'm a mediocre piano player too, and I
love
like it.
All right.
But
yes,
I have never done this, and I really want to. I really want to learn how to weld. Like 3D art, like metal. I want to learn how to weld.
Like a structure?
Yes.
Like you'd put it in your yard?
Yes.
Oh.
Or in my house.
What would you weld?
I don't know. Anything, everything.
Okay.
No,
I would weld the world.
Do you ever, like, that's what I sort of like think, okay, so I need new hobbies.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could take like a correspondence course or something. Like, actually, I have a friend who's like, because I keep putting it out there.
Yeah.
You know, like, you guys, should I weld? And my friends are like, yeah, let's do that. Hey, I know a friend, or I know a guy, or I know somebody who does this or whatever. One of these days I'm gonna do it.
You keep putting it out into the universe, and one day someone's gonna, isn't it a torch and a shield?
Oh, yeah,
and
it's the whole,
someone's gonna show up on your doorstep
dance thing
with the garb. Yeah, I love it. Okay, last one. This has been too fun, too fast, too fun. That's heavy. Here we go. What is your biggest regret in life? I hate the word regret, and I hate this question, but here it is. What's your biggest regret?
So many. But I'm trying really hard not to live in that place of regret of like, I try not to make the same mistakes. I know I'm gonna, make mistakes, and I don't, what's my biggest regret? Yeah. The funny answer is, or the lighthearted answer is, in college I really should have just studied acting instead of English, or like something like that. Like, gone for it and just done it earlier, and that kind of stuff. Although I really do like my English degree, so I don't know if that.
It served you, I'm sure.
I mean, I think the serious one is like it would be with parenting regrets. So I have 3 grown children, baby adults as I like to call them. So cute.
Well described.
And 2 teenagers at home, and I do parent a lot differently now than I did 20 years ago.
Sure.
And I do, and I see my little sister just had her first baby, and and it just makes me really reflective of like, if I could go back right now and start mothering my kids, knowing what I know about them now, knowing more about myself and about life, I would do such a better job.
Wouldn't that be an interesting exercise to know them as baby adults?
Yeah.
And to work backward and see how you might.
I wonder if it would be like torture, emotionally.
It probably wouldn't change though much.
Maybe not.
Right? Because they are who they are.
They are who they are. You are who you are. You're both changing and growing and learning. And so there's some bumping up against, I don't know, I think that's my biggest of like, I shouldn't have reacted in that way or that way. I think a lot of parents can relate.
Yeah, totally. I feel like this series and this setting is just you. This was just naturally fitting for you. So thanks for saying yes.
Of course.
Thanks for jumping into our Take 5 hot seat. We got to do this again. And how can we listen to more fabulous conversation? Girlfriend Gab from you.
Oh yeah, join we have a Facebook group for the Lisa Show where we have conversations after the show that are sparked from that. So it can be a real community. But you can just download the Lisa Show on our free BYU radio app and hopefully subscribe.
Subscribe, rate, review, listen, do all the things. I know you will. I do, and I love it. Thank you so much. Love you. Appreciate you coming.